I watched your TED Talk that you gave at University of Alberta, and there you spoke about how you've navigated through different roles in your personal and professional life. Obviously, from being a physician to getting an interest in military training, martial arts, and then eventually, obviously, enrolling into that citizen scientist astronaut program. Now, in that journey, I'm sure you must have faced some challenges. And I was curious, how did you overcome those challenges? What was the role of resilience in all these transitions that you've had in your life and your career? And how did you build on your own personal resilience? I know that's a loaded question, and it's probably a very long journey that you're about to condense into a few short sentences, but I'm very curious in understanding your thought process and how you've managed that.
Yeah, that's a great question. And so even just looking at the idea of resilience. So for me, this all came about when I was switching from neurosurgery to general practice. And for me, that really didn't feel good because I'm always someone who typically sees something through to completion. And having this mental model of what my identity encompassed, including neurosurgery since I was 15, and then suddenly realizing that, well, this journey won't be seen towards the end. That didn't feel good at all. And trying to reconcile that with who you think you are, you kind of go through this journey of introspection, but you also feel like a failure, and that's kind of what started me on this journey. And to back up, when we talk about resilience, to kind of give us all that same working definition, it's that fortitude, that stick-to-itiveness, that grit, that mental toughness, that ability to bounce back when things aren't going so great, or when things are going tremendously well and we want to keep up the momentum. That's what resilience is. And I think it's critically important to talk about, both for our day-to-day lives, high-performing, high-stress operational scenarios, and even adapting to life in the pandemic. And what I found going down this rabbit hole of what resilience is, it's an entire field of study. Reading about psychological resilience is tremendously fascinating, and probably one of the most hopeful things that I found in my research is that this isn't an innate trait. It's not simply that you're born more resilient than I, or I more than you. It's something that we can build and practice and apply to our daily lives. And depending on which model you look at, resilience can be broken down into 5 key traits. And so that's breaking things down. So if something seems tremendously overwhelming, starting one step at a time, positive self-talk, telling yourself that you've got this, mental rehearsals, preparing yourself for the best and the worst case scenarios, practicing impulse control, practicing that urge, the resistance to that urge to give up or give into negativity, and then finally, positive social support. So calling upon your people, using your network to help lift you up when you may not have the reserve to. And, learning about that when I was at my lowest, helped me bounce back, but it's something I still apply every day because I've been lucky enough to be put into this life where I can realize all of my childhood dreams and so much more in ways that I never thought possible. And I'm tremendously grateful for that. But there's a lot of juggling and time management that's involved with that. And so even, when things are going tremendously well, there's still a need to say, hey, I'm taking on a monumental task. How am I going to break that down? And it's like the old joke says, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So, that's how I got involved with that. But I spread the word because I think it's tremendously important, for others to realize that you too can build resilience.